For the past few months, dare I even say possibly year, maybe two, I have been on a crusade against fanboys who have consistently said the dumbest line in video game history: support the developers. Now look, I have a big issue with this line directly, mostly because these fanboys are now saying things like you should buy your games day one at full price to make sure the developers still have a job. That's how you know you're going to support them, with your money directly. Only then can these poor, helpless developers and studios and publishers be able to finally pay people out and not fire anybody.
Today's important message is support your developers. Go out and buy your games. Embrace the industry.
It turns out those chickens have finally come home to roost. That no matter how many times you buy a video game, no matter what price you purchase it at, it is never enough for this industry. They will gouge you till every red cent is pulled out of your backside like goatsy on a bad day, to take every single dollar they can and then turn around and still fire everybody in that dev studio, or maybe even a good percentage of them as well. What am I talking about? Well, the layoffs in the gaming industry are still happening, and some are happening with Xbox and some are happening without Xbox. And strangely enough, everybody seems to be blaming Xbox. No, I'm not kidding. But you see, I want to point out a couple of things directly. We've talked about things like stop killing games and other aspects of the gaming industry as well. And one of the things that is happening is watching how the gaming industry continually does the exact same stupid behavior that we see over and over again. You think to yourself, how could this keep happening? Well, I'll show you now. It turns out that according to VGC, Ubisoft has named CEO Yves Guillemot's son as the co-CEO of its new Tencent-backed subsidiary. Asked to address concerns of nepotism, Charlie Guillemot said, "What matters now isn't my name, it's the work ahead." When you think to yourself, why does the gaming industry keep acting like this? Well, there's more nepotism happening here than Pirate Software saying he worked at Blizzard because his dad was there. We are now seeing a direct correlation of CEOs in the gaming industry putting in place actual nepotistic practices to put their sons directly into line of actual leadership in the gaming industry, as Ubisoft is again the exact same company that is telling you, the consumer who gives them their hard-earned money at every single opportunity, that once the license is done with that game, you gotta destroy it. You don't have access to that license anymore. You don't own that thing, but they sure are gonna own your money now, aren't they? That's right, boys. Support the developers, as every fanboy likes to say. Let the publisher and devs grab you by the ankle like Roger Klotz and Doug, spin you upside down and shake out every penny from your pockets that you possibly can. Because clearly, that's the only way they're gonna keep people employed, right? No, because of course it happens again with Microsoft directly, according to Shinobi on Twitter saying this: King staff is laid off by Microsoft, set to be replaced by the AI tools they help build. The studio morale is in the gutter. If that sounds weird to you, that's because it is. You see, the K in ABK stands for Activision, Blizzard, and King. That same company that runs Candy Crush, that mobile game that your mother is addicted to, just like she's addicted to sucking my And that little microtransaction haven of mobile gaming makes millions upon millions of dollars hand over fist, month over month, quarter over quarter. So what happens in King? Well, apparently they decided to go ahead and take 200 developers to make an AI model for them, and then once that model was created, they fired the developers who made the AI. It doesn't matter how much money you give these companies. They literally do not care. They will do everything they possibly can to rip the skin off of your back and then blame you for it. Wait, hold on. I just got this from Statista. You're not going to believe this. In Q4 of 2024, just in 3 months of a quarter of that year, Candy Crush made over $250 million. That is in one quarter. So if you take that number over the last year of 2024, they crossed $1 billion in 1 year off of one mobile game. I just They're struggling, boys. They're struggling. They need your pennies. Go ahead, start punching in. You got to make sure you feed the clock, because if not, they're not going to be able to keep anybody employed. They're going to have to rely on AI in the first place. This insane, ridiculous behavior in industry is honestly out of control. And of course, as always in this content, it always tends to get worse, because literally the very next day, someone on LinkedIn from the Xbox graphic design team made this post. A Microsoft employee has drawn criticism for sharing a widely ridiculed AI image to advertise empty roles on the Xbox's graphics team. Much of the criticism cites the recent layoffs of 9,000 Microsoft employees across its various divisions. The image in question showing this: Microsoft employee certified for advertising Xbox graphics role using AI slop artwork just weeks after mass layoffs. As the AI image, which isn't even done well, has the code on the back of the monitor. You can't make this up, dude. You know what this reminds me of? That one time Activision was like, are you guys interested in Rock Band? And they put out the most fake AI Rock Band image you could possibly imagine to try and gauge interest. This is the biggest amount of slop that we are heading to in this gaming industry. And you know what's crazy? As someone that uses AI as a tool, I use it for helping me create YouTube content. I use it to help me make thumbnails, but I don't have anything as a full-on replacement. It's honestly a great thing to use for a smaller type of content creator like myself. However, though, a multi-billion, multi-trillion-dollar corporation cannot even have one person in their graphics design team to go around and make a proper visual representation of working at Xbox. A girl in a green sweater with a green background and the code being green on the wrong side of the monitor does not spell confidence in anyone trying to work for that company. And it really goes to show that Xbox and Microsoft are betting far too much on AI in the first place, because unfortunately the masses in the gaming industry, they don't care about whether a game is optimized or not. They don't care whether or not the game is good or not. They just care about whether or not they have the game at all. And you see this shit happen with fanboys on a consistent level. Support the devs, buy your games, do all this shit, exclusives matter. And then when all that happens, you turn around and you get the exact same slop you always get on every single facet of every single time. But it gets worse, because according to Hazardor Gaming, it turns out that there are mass layoffs at Virtuous Studios, the studio behind Oblivion Remastered and the upcoming Metal Gear Solid Delta. 300 positions, about 7% of the workforce, were outsourcing specialists located in Asia, the USA, Europe, and including 3 branches in France. This is why you never believe the lies. You never believe anything a corpo tells you, because they will lie to your face about it every single time. The Elder Scrolls Oblivion 4 Remastered sold millions of copies within its first week. Hell, it was one of the best-selling games a month ago. Here's Matt Piscatella on Blue Sky saying this: 2025 year-to-date top 20 best-selling premium games, US dollar sales, physical and digital from digital data sharing publishers, excludes add-on content. Number 3 was the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, right below AC Shadows and Monster Hunter Wilds. Matt Piscatella also continues by saying this: the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered was the best-selling game of the month, instantly becoming the 3rd best-selling game of 2025 year to date. It was the best-selling title across each of the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC platforms. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered sold more units in April 2025 than the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion achieved across its first 15 months in market combined following its March 2006 debut, and generated more full game dollar sales than its original first 14 months combined. And I want to be clear about this. We're not talking about a game that had talked about, oh, we've got a bunch of players playing it and no sales behind it. We're not talking about something like Doom the Dark Ages that had all these players and nobody knows the sales figures. We're not talking about a game like AC Shadows where they just bragged about concurrent players and not about sales figures. We're talking about a game that was the number 3 best-selling game of the year a month ago and literally was the top-selling game for last month, and they still went off and fired a bunch of people because of it. Again, it doesn't matter how much money you give these companies. It doesn't matter how many sales their games make. All that matters is, can they make the red line go up? And actual clowns like this idiot and this bald-headed koala talking actual garbage like exclusives matter doesn't understand that exclusivity does nothing for you as a consumer. All it does is restrict you where you can purchase the product. And companies are going to be getting really sick and tired of a game not having enough sales because they're restricting it to a specific platform. So again, all the fanboys that were freaking out about Helldivers 2 going to Xbox and everything else, guess what? It turns out that the high possibility of the fact that you don't support your own developers, it'll turn out that maybe other people in fact will. That's what happened to Xbox. That's what's happening now to PlayStation. You can cope, you can seethe, you can mold, you can dilate all you want. It is going to continually happen because you, as a consumer, do not matter. What matters is, can we make the line go up? And these developers will fire anyone in their way to make that line happen, whether it's something that's contractual via 18 months, like is what happening with Virtuous and Microsoft sometimes, or when they just go ahead and start laying everybody off across the entire industry, or everybody coping like, oh guys, they're trimming the fat, but it's going to be okay. They're going to get rid of all the Karens, you guys, and they turn around and instead of doing that, they hire H-1B visas and they bring everybody else in at half the amount of salary because they don't want to pay you in the first place and then make them use AI as well. So hey, way to go. Way to support the developers, boys. Y'all did it. Good job. Good job. But you see, there's more happening with the details about Virtuous Studios. In fact, Insider Gaming has an article saying this. First reported by Gauthier Andres, 300 people or 7% of the company's workforce are set to be let go across various locations in the US, Asia, Europe, and 3 branches in France. Andres says the layoffs will initially target China, but will impact other areas. He added that regarding the successful Oblivion remaster, Virtuous had a policy of overspending on quality along with a royalty-free contract. That contract had no bonuses tied to the game's success, likely leaving money on the table for the studio. The result? Teams put under severe strain for a purely showcase game whose profitability is to be questioned, he said via translation. So hold on, let's get this right. Even though Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered sold millions of copies, was one of the top-selling games of the year in 2025 so far, because Virtuous was unable to make a proper deal in the first place, they left money on the table and didn't provide anything else for themselves to recoup any of the costs and focused more on graphics and more fidelity. This is what I'm talking about. This is the bullshit that we have to deal with. Even though they were using Unreal Engine 5 for this actual development. Even though there are so many gamers talking about, I want graphics so good, my eyeballs bleed. Even though we see all of these things happen, we see bloated budgets and inconsistent management and inability to properly budget game development is the real cause and concern for all of this. These companies want you to foot their bill because they don't know what they're doing. And of course, the article continues, and things in fact do get worse. It's said that after Oblivion's development, Virtuous put a freeze on raises along with a reduction in bonuses, leading to questions from staff to management regarding layoffs. Upon news of the layoffs, Andre says that a strike is taking place at Virtuous Lyon to protest the layoffs and to protect future capacity of the branch. It was also mentioned that the studio has been moving towards more generative AI use. In 1 year, we've gone from a few group level presentations to basic but mandatory training for employees. So there it is. There's the real reason about what's happening with game development in studios. Now we're moving into more generative AI. Of course, using that for development of games, still increasing the budget of video games, still then cutting out people from jobs directly who work on those video games to make them good in the first place, and then still charging you more money. Explain that to me, how a company can have an overbloated budget, fire a bunch of people, use AI to replace those people, yet for some reason they say our budgets are too out of control, you guys now have to pay $80 for a video game. And I know the Elder Scrolls Remastered wasn't $80. That's not the case I'm trying to make. What I'm saying is this kind of behavior is happening with every other single development studio, whether it's Virtuous or Microsoft or PlayStation or anybody else that people want to go ahead and brag about being so good and so great for the consumer. Nobody at these companies and publishers cares about you. They care about the dollar that they're going to pull from your wallet. And we're seeing this happen over and over again as they hire people, make the game, overbloat the budget, use AI to replace them, fire everybody else, charge you more money, and then say, we're sorry. You guys, come on. And unfortunately, that is the sad reality of the bunch. We're going to be seeing more of this happen as game dev studios rely more on AI, but yet at the same time, don't check what AI is doing, get the wrong answers, get the wrong information, make the wrong kind of art, create nothing but spaghetti code, and then realize what happened to the gaming industry as it completely falls apart and we finally get the second crash, which honestly is incredibly deserved. And you know what's even funnier about all of this before we end the video? The funnier part about all of this are people who do not understand that Microsoft does not own Virtuous Studios and are going around either making tweets or making videos trying to blame Microsoft for some weird reason about the layoffs at Virtuous Studios, even though they don't own them. I swear to God, if I gotta watch this dude lie to his teeth that we all paid for already, say one more stupid thing again, I'm gonna lose my. So you know what, with all that being said, I want to hear what you guys have to say about all of this in the comments section down below. Do you think the gaming industry is as cooked as I think it is? Because clearly I think we're going to get a lot worse before it actually gets even somewhat better. But if you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, my hot takes in the gaming industry, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 87,000 subs, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access or most during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. Come on down as about 800 to 1,000 people insult me for about 5 hours straight using AI TTS. Trust me, you're going to love it. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!